Welcome. Today we're going to be going through minus px squared plus qx minus 10. So let's write that down. We have f of x is equal to 2x cubed minus px squared plus qx minus 10. Now let's hear what they say next now. The next thing that they say is, and it is divisible by x minus 1. If it is divisible by x minus 1, then they're telling us that f of 1 is equal to 0. Now if f of 1 is equal to 0, what does that tell us? If f of 1 is equal to 0, we can substitute 1 into f, and we're going to get 2 times 1 cubed, which is 2, minus p times 1 square, which is just p, plus q minus 10. They're telling us that that is of course equal to 0. So I'm just going to rewrite it this way and say then we have minus p plus q, and that's equal to, when I bring over 2 minus 10 is minus 8, so when I bring it over it is positive 8. And let's hear what they say next. They say now it has a remainder of minus 6 when it is divided by x plus 1. So what they're also telling us is that f of minus 1, because if x plus 1 is a factor, then it's f of minus 1. They're telling us that f of minus 1 is equal to negative 6. If f of minus 1 is equal to negative 6, then what they're telling us is plug in minus 1 here. Minus 1 cube is minus 1 times 2, which is minus 2. Minus 1 square, which is 1. 1 times minus p is minus p. Then 1 times q, minus 1 times q, that's minus q, minus 10, and that's equal to negative 6. Nice. So now what we end up with is two equations. I'm going to rewrite this as minus p minus q, and that is going to be equal to minus 2 minus 10 is minus 12. When you bring over minus 12, it becomes plus 12. Plus 12 minus 6 is 6. All right. So what I'm going to do is group the two equations. I'm going to put the first equation below this second equation here. So we have minus p plus q is equal to 8. Cool. Now, let's say you wanted to add them together, right? If you add these two equations together, what's going to happen? If I add them together, I'm going to get minus p, which is minus 2p. Then I'm going to get minus q plus q, which cancel. And 6 plus 8 is 14. If I then divide through by negative 2, I'm getting that p is equal to 14 over negative 2, which is negative 7. So that's how we get p to be negative 7. Once we get p is equal to negative 7, what can we then do? We can then substitute to find q. Now if p is negative 7, look right here. Negative 7 is 7, plus q is 8. And so q must be 1. Q is equal to 1. So that takes care of the first part by finding the values of p and q. So that's part 1. P and q, p is negative 7 and q is 1. Nice. That takes care of part 1. Now part 2, of course, is going to ask us to factorize. All right, so let's go ahead and do part 2. So for part 2, factorize f of x. Since we know what p and q is, we can rewrite f of x now as f of x is equal to, it is now 2x cubed. Instead of writing minus px, it is actually minus 7, which become plus 7. So it is now plus 7x squared plus qx, but q is 1, so it's just plus x minus 10. All right, so this is f of x. Now, we can go ahead now and do our polynomial division to find the quadratic factor of f of x. So let's do our polynomial division. Remember, it told us that it is divisible by x minus 1. So we're going to divide the function f of x by its factor of x minus 1. So we have 2x cubed plus 7x squared plus x minus 10, and that's divisible by x minus 1. So let's do the division. X into 2x cubed, leave 2x squared. Then you're going to go 2x squared times x, which is 2x cubed. Then you're going to say, okay, 2x squared times 1, that's minus 2x squared. Then you subtract them. So you go ahead, you subtract them. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed, that cancel. 7x squared minus 2x squared, that's positive 9x squared. So we have 9x squared. We bring down the x now to have plus x. X into 9x squared, that leaves 9x. Then 9x times x is 9x squared. Then we're going to go 9x times minus 1. That's minus 9x. Then we're going to do our subtraction again. Subtracting, we're going to get x minus minus 9 is positive 10x. So we have positive 10x minus 10. Then x into 10x, that is now positive 10. And then x times 10 is 10x. Minus, now 10 times minus 1 is minus 10. Then we do our subtraction. We get 0. All right, so now we have the quadratic factor. So of course we can then rewrite f of x now as f of x is equal to, f of x is now going to be equal to x minus 1 times its quadratic factor of 2x squared plus 9x plus 10. And then we can go ahead now and factorize this quadratic portion, or this quadratic factor of f of x. This is now easy to factorize. So we're finally almost finished. So we're going to factorize the quadratic aspect now, or the quadratic portion of it. So let's factorize it. We know it's going to be two linear factors. All right, so in order for it to be 10 and 2x squared, it's going to be 2x and x. Signs are the same and both of them are positive, so it has to be 5 and 2. Both of them are positive. Now let's check it. This times this is that. This times this is 4x plus 5x plus 10. Yes, this is fine. So this is the answer. X minus 1, 2x plus 5, x plus 2. All right. So these are the factors of f of x. All right, nice and easy. So let me write it down in part 2. This is part 2. That's the answer. Those are the factors. Nice. Now look at part B.